Hey there, this is going to be a workshop, and the first thing I want to do is one of my friends graciously allowed me to use this photo, and I think it's designed well. It's the classic, at least for me, compositionally, design wise, is the L, and that's been around for a long time. You could make a case for the crucifix. But anyway, everything is pointing to this area right here, and I'm going to try to highlight that a little bit more. But having said that, I want to put this into a value study, and I have to figure out what is light, what is mid-tone, medium, and what's dark. I see I'm going to have to add some light, that sky and these mountains behind it and the trees. I've only got those three choices, but I'm going to make that sky light and a lot of mid-tone in here with a few darks to accentuate but mostly it's going to be a mid-tone painting with the second mass being light or white, and then some darks added for definition. Anyway, so let's give it a shot. I'm just going to mix up a puddle of, I've got some Payne's Gray in here, and I'm going to use this well next to it to just mix up a puddle of my mid-tone. And I want to make sure that I have enough of a puddle in there so I don't run out. So it truly is kind of a mid-tone flavor. I think that might be a tad light, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm not even sure that that's enough, so I'm going to add a little more water and a little more paint to it. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed up. And usually what happens is I'm going to paint this using gravity. However, that's how I paint most of my watercolors. So here's Mr. Gravity. It's just a piece of L-shaped piece of cardboard. And with watercolor, this is what makes the watercolor work because it makes it move. That's the advantage to painting in watercolor. So as I said, I'm going to leave the sky light. I'm going to adjust. That's pretty good value. I'm going to put these in the background. And I'm actually going to just go ahead and put some of these trees in. This is a lighter tree in here, which I might leave. But this is very light, so I am going to leave that one for sure. That space. And these white trunks on these trees, I'm going to see how that goes. I might just add those in gouache later on, but I'm going to try at least to negative paint around those. Now, this is just a study, so I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm just looking for a value arrangement, and that's going to help me define the design. And I have a pretty light tree in here, so I'm going to just block that in. And of course the bank is super light, but I have a few little things along the bank, kind of define that and make it so I can tell what's reflection and what is water, or what is the bank. And then we get into some of these trees, but most of this stuff, I'm going to take this big shape and leave that block around that for the light part of the painting. And I can go back and I can add some gouache or whatever for some of these trees sticking up. In fact, I think I'll just try to paint it that way. And I am going to finish this off. There's trees up here on this side, so I can bring out the light. Let's see that little space. Yeah. I don't want to get too cute with this, and I don't want to get too fancy with trying to make a painting, because this is a study. That's all it is. It's just a study. That's not too bad. I'm looking at my larger shapes, and now I'm getting down into the water. And these rocks are pretty hot. This has got a side lit rocks in here, so I'm just going to leave those like that. I got a top lit rock, but that all this is going to go right into my mid-tone. It's kind of a reflection, some of these trees. And I am just going to make these guys, these rocks down here. I'm going to try to paint just shapes. Just shapes. Yeah, all this, the rest of this is pretty much just mid-tone. That's not too bad. I want to get my big shapes going on in there, and I think that's pretty good actually. Make that tree just a tad taller and make this bank just defined a little bit more. And there we go. I think that's actually pretty good for my mid-tone. Now what I have to do is I have to go back and add the darks. Okay, this has had a chance to dry a little bit. I think that looks like a good mid-tone. So I have two of my values, 2 out of the 3. I have my light, I have my mid-tone, and I'm going to add my dark. And this is going to be my guide because it's not about the color, it's about the value of the color when I start painting this in full color. After I figure out my palette, of course, and what techniques I'll need. So I'm just going to mix up stronger. And then I'm going to go to the other well. I'm just going to mix up stronger dark, my black, and I see I have a little bit going on back here, and I'm defining a tree, a little bit of side light, and this kind of goes down into here, so that's fine. A little bit on this side of this tree going up here, so I'm just going to touch it slightly to start defining this this tree trunk, and it stays pretty dark through here, even going into that one next to it. And when I get down into here, I've just got a couple little places. It's kind of negative painting. It is negative painting. No kindness about it. And then I've got a little bit here, and then I start to kind of defining this big guy, and I've got a dark that I'm going to put in here, and that's going to help define this light little, very colorful little tree, bush, whatever. And this stays pretty much mid-tone through here. I'm going to put in a little going on just to define that. Once again, these trees. And now I can start. I don't have to do too much, but I can start defining these guys just a little along the bank here. I don't need to get too fussy or too much, just enough to define that bank. Maybe a couple little things there, and I'm going to take that bank down a little farther, and this light colored bush has a few little things going on in it, and it gets real dark around some of those rocks. And we actually have some little negative painting pieces, those roots or whatever they are, tangle in the water, show the light a little bit, and then we get into the other side of these rocks. This is kind of a triangular shaped rock. Going on down into here, and a little bit of dark, a little bit of dark, a little bit of dark to define that shadow. I'm going to put some of these reflections in down through here. In fact, I'm going to make a lot of this dark, defining some of these reflections of those tall trees. That's probably enough, and then go along the bottom of this. There we go, we're almost there. I'd say we're pretty much, I don't want to get too complicated. I'd say we're pretty much there. I do have some dark up in here, so I'm going to just put a little bit where this these trees go up in this corner, and a little bit on this side, and I think we're done. So that gives me my basic, big shapes. Big shapes. That's what I'm after. Are the bigger shapes. I don't want to get too fussy or too ditzy down here. In fact, I'm going to go back real quick and just simplify some of those little areas there, because I really don't want you to look there. I want you to look in here someplace. And so, as a matter of fact, I'm going to kill some of that little bush. Now I think you're going to look there. Just add a little dark just to bring you up into that. And we're done. That's my guide. That's going to be my guide. Here is one more thing you can do. So this is my value study, and I can do anything I want to this to make it look right. So if I goofed up or covered something up, or I'm looking at it now saying, oh, how could I make this read a little bit better? I'm going to use this bleed-proof white. This is white gouache. And I can do this to go back to hit some areas I may have covered up, or I just want to define them a little bit better. So in this case, I see these three tall trunks, of these trees, and I kind of lost this one a little bit. I made it too thin, so I made the other one a little bit too gray, too mid-tone. So I'm just going to go and use my ruler as a guide, and I'm just resting my index finger and holding this brush like a pencil, and then I can go, I can just make this straight line going up. So that's going to help define that on my value study. I could go back, I could add some highlights on these rocks. I could say, oh, okay, now that I did that, now I have a little bit more of a reflection going on down through there. I could go back in here, I could put a few little jaggies in, but I'm not. So I think this is enough. I see what's happening up in here, so just to remind me, there's some branches, some limbs up in here, just to remind me that I can put those in later. And I think that's probably it. So I'm just gonna take this tape off, and this is a nice little sketchbook that I found that works fairly well because it's a small size. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and it is a 140-pound cold press, which is perfect in this size. It's great for doing palette puddles. Just try out some paint combinations. See, I think that going from this and reading it and going to this, squinting my eyes a little bit, I think that reads pretty well. That's kind of what I'm after. I hope I still have that same good value structure in my finished painting.